Welcome to Dacey's Divas. Hi, I'm your host, Dacey. Today we have two phenomenal divas out there making a difference for thousands of foster children and homeless children. And they're making their wishes and dreams come true. Please welcome this morning the organization One Wish Project. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And this is our beautiful Hannah Finn, the founder.
Yes.
And her beautiful mom, Claudia Mintz.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on Dacey's Divas. We have an amazing show for everyone today. So first, Hannah, let's talk a little bit about you, and then we're going to get into the Wish Project, and we're going to talk to your mom. So tell me a little bit about where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Andover. I'm a senior at UMass Amherst right now. I'm studying communications.
Good.
And just enjoying doing One Wish Project and giving back to the community.
And how did you get involved in the One Wish?
So it's a funny story. So when I was 14, I was a freshman going into my freshman year of high school, and I was sort of looking to get involved in community service, but I'm the type of girl who, if I'm going to get involved, I want to use something that I enjoy doing and that I'm passionate about. And I loved baking my whole life, and so I knew that the city next to me is the city of Lawrence, which is one of the poorest cities in Massachusetts. There's hundreds of homeless children and families, and I knew that they might not be able to have a birthday celebration like I did growing up, and I wanted to give them that same feeling of the joy of opening your presents and blowing out your cake, and that's why I kind of took one of my passions.
And you were a young girl. Tell us
was.
the age. That's so remarkable.
I was 14.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, we're coming up on 7 years.
Oh, good girl. Now, your beautiful mom, Claudia, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get into the One Wish Project.
Well, I raised the three children. Hannah's the youngest of
Were you a
three.
single mom?
For a while, yes, I was. And then I remarried, and we moved to Andover, and that's where the kids, she and her brothers, were raised. And I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. And, when each of the children did get into high school, I did suggest, get out of your comfort zone a little. And, of course, Hannah decided to take it to the nth degree, and she was very excited to start this project. And being 14, though, she couldn't drive, so she couldn't go anywhere on her own.
She had you. You were the driver.
I was the driver, and so when this started, she was really starting to do it maybe just for a year, but then it just kept taking off, and it started to grow, and now I'm doing the finances and I'm doing the social media because I didn't want her on social media by herself, and then of course,
which is important. That's
exactly.
That's a great call.
Obviously, bringing her to the shelters, and so I was lucky enough to be able to be in that position, to work with her and to help her do this because she just absolutely loved it. And of course, I was always in the kitchen, stealing a little of that buttercream that she would
That's
make.
what I want to ask you. I think it's a cute story. Before we got on the air here, you told me that you don't bake. So
I do not bake.
So where did you learn how to bake?
I don't know. She's a great cook, and so I always watched her in the kitchen, and I sort of just picked up. She would do the
Cooking
cooking.
and baking
It's
are
two different
They are
things.
different.
I love to cook.
Yeah.
But I remember my first cake I made for my dad. I'll never forget. It was a marble cake. So I thought, should I use Diet Coke or ginger ale? Then I put it hot, steeping in the refrigerator, all the frosting I put on it. And then I said, oh my God, the frosting is now around the plate. The cake is upside down. I stuck it in the freezer. I'll never forget my father. My father opened up the freezer and he's like, woo-wee, what a cake. And I said, I was all done with the baking. So I made strawberries dipped in chocolate, and that is it.
Oh, that's funny.
So what's funny is I didn't really know how to bake a cake. I would do like the refrigerated cookies, the box brownies, but cakes are really different. And so I'd go on YouTube and I'd
that's great.
learn how to frost, and I'd be like, play, pause, play, but trying to figure out how
she was
exactly.
a natural at it.
See, we wouldn't have known how to do that. We had nothing like YouTube, and that is a great vehicle, though.
Oh, yeah,
nowadays.
without a doubt. And she
Yes.
was such a perfectionist. I have to tell you, there were quite a few tears in the kitchen many, many a night, the night before a birthday celebration, because she really wanted to get it just right and just perfect. And she's like, it's not good, Mom. And I'm like, Hannah, the child will love it.
You
no
must
matter
be a
what.
pro. Do you want to be a chef?
I would love to. I know I couldn't, but
Yeah.
So I don't do any of the baking anymore because when I went to college, I knew I didn't want One Wish to just die out. It was incredibly special to me and incredibly special to the kids that we were servicing. So it became a volunteer organization. So now all the volunteers are doing all the baking. I haven't baked in a couple of years, but
We're going to show a few pictures, but before we do, Tell me a little bit about One Wish. Tell me your mission. It is really outstanding.
And it's really just to make children 1 to 18 on their birthdays feel just like any other child who are, they're living in homeless shelters and in foster care and
Very
really
sad.
difficult circumstances. And we don't know these kids' backgrounds or what they're dealing with. And if we can kind of be that little light in their lives and bring just something that will make them feel like they're appreciated, that's the goal for us.
Now, I like, Hannah, on your website, it speaks about wishes. It's not really blow out a candle and wishes. Tell me, you love that famous quote from Maya Angelou. And
I
tell
do.
me about that.
I do. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's people may forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think in One Wish Project and just in life in general, people might not remember you, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And for the kids, it's making them feel special on that one day. They might not remember the presents they got or the cake they got on their 8th birthday, but they'll know that when they were going through a difficult period in their lives, when they were living in a homeless shelter or didn't even have a parent or a stable home, someone came in and said, I appreciate you, and here's this to make you feel special. We see you.
How did you come up with homeless children? I mean, there are so many children out there that really do need help. What was your, why did you come up with that idea?
I think it was more so I grew up in Andover, which I was very fortunate. Andover's a beautiful town, but the city next to me was the city of Lawrence, and it was 5 minutes down the road from me, and I knew there were so many children in just my local community who were in homeless shelters and in foster care. And my mom did an amazing job of making me feel special on my birthday every year. And,
yes, she did.
And I wanted those kids to have that same sense of confidence and worth and knowing that they're special.
And what do you say about, you must be so thrilled that she achieved not only that, now she's in college, going on. Your other two children, are they in school? Are they younger?
My oldest graduated from UMass Amherst a couple of years ago. He flew the coop and lives in LA now and is in the entertainment business. My second son, Jesse, just graduated in May and just got a job with Fidelity. He's in finance. So I'm very, very proud of all of them.
You should be.
All
you
three
should
of
be
them.
proud of yourself.
Yeah, that proverbial pat on the back. Yeah, no, I'm very fortunate. I have 3 incredible kids and that are just
Yes, you do.
very independent and very loving. So, and each of them, in their own way, got into community service, and not to the extent that Hannah did, but they all did something.
So are you still involved in the Wish Project very much? Are you still doing the marketing for them? And
so when Hannah transitioned to college, I did take over the data. It was just a natural progression since I started with her from day one. And she didn't want it to just fall by the wayside when she went off to college. So I did. I took it over. She did, to her credit, come up with the idea because, again, as we said, I didn't bake. And at that point, she was servicing probably about 100 kids. And so I took over the day-to-day responsibilities of One Wish Project. But then we really started to grow. Now we're servicing over 700, and within the next couple of months we'll be over 1,200. Wow. And so now we have about 250 registered volunteers that I manage, and while she's still in school, and so I'm very, very much involved. It's actually a full-time job for me now because I'm now the executive director. She's the founder, I'm the executive director, so which means she's sort of my boss. But
and it's nice, and
but that's okay.
We do it together.
we're going to see a few pictures, and then we're going to talk about your awards and what houses. I know you serve on the Lazarus House. So Pete, if you can flash some pictures, and then we can kind of explain a little bit about them.
That'd be great.
Okay, here you gorgeous girls. Look at you divas. Where is this? This is your second?
That's our second annual gala at the Andover Country Club. It was a beautiful event. We had...
Yes, you invited me. I'm sorry I had a prior commitment, but I would have gone. Look how gorgeous you girls look.
Thank you.
And you had a big turnout?
We did.
We had over 500 people.
Wow. And the proceeds go into the baking, into your marketing?
It's directly to the kids. So buying gifts for them, supplying, everything to put on the birthday parties.
And how do you know what cake to make? Now today, Hannah, Pete, we got to get this, made a Dacey's Divas cake. I don't know, is this going to... Oh, we got it. Right there. Got new technology.
That's a beauty.
All right. And that is so beautiful and so thoughtful, but you have to be so creative and thoughtful and compassionate. So how do you know when you do you meet a child first? Or do you have does a person that runs, like say the Lazarus House, I know you've done a lot of work there, do they say, okay, it's Joey's birthday, he loves football. So is that what you do?
So when I first started, I was just buying little gifts that I kind of figured they would like. But I knew I wanted it to be more personalized, just like when my mom's like, oh, your birthday's coming up, what would you like? I wanted the kids to have that same experience. So I created a little survey. It asks them their name, their favorite cake, their favorite flavor.
Oh, I love that.
Colors, what
Hobbies.
gifts they want, hobbies. So it's really customized to them. We get them exactly what they want on their gift list.
And here we go.
Extremely
Who is this little boy adorable to the left?
He is so cute. That's Caden. He was a couple years back, and he was like ecstatic over
I can
the
see
cutest boy.
And now to the right is
That's Alexander. That was. I have a lot of favorite birthdays, but that was one of my favorites.
Why?
Just the sweetest.
Yeah.
Just the sweetest boy, and comes from a really amazing family. And his
a foster care family.
They were in a homeless shelter, and his mom was amazing.
Yeah.
Just the sweetest, and she was so grateful for everything that we did for him.
Remember
is
what she
nice.
said to you?
She said, "You did for me what I couldn't have done for my son." When
She was
really-
crying.
Yeah.
She was crying.
Yeah. That's, and it makes you feel wonderful, right?
It does.
And I love, like, in your, I know we're about to cry, all of us. And I know in your, in your own bio that it brings you a self-accomplishment, a self-worth within yourself, doesn't it?
It does. Just
Yeah.
knowing, I'm young, and knowing that I can do this for these kids and give back to them and, make them feel like any other child just kind of brings me that feeling of, I was able to do this for someone, and it's rewarding. It's really special.
It is rewarding. What else? Okay, Pete, we have a couple other pictures. I love the green cupcakes. What was that for? I think Pete had, here we go, blue cupcakes.
Those are one of our hundreds of birthdays.
Yeah.
So
And this child must have loved.
Did you make these special, or did you?
I did.
Committee? You
I
did.
did.
All right,
Made
Hannah.
those.
All right, we saw something, and here you are. I love that picture.
that's my iconic photo when I was little that my dad took in our house. So
And then next to you,
next to me, that was an award I won from the Boston Celtics. It was it's called the Heroes Among Us Award.
I saw that.
And they present someone who is a hero in the community. So I was lucky enough to be rewarded with that a couple of years back.
And Pete knew who he was.
Yeah.
You won other awards. Tell us the other awards that there's about 6 or 7 of them I saw.
Yeah. I won the Youth Hero Award from the American Red Cross, which was amazing.
Good girl.
The Celtics Award, and just a couple other ones. But to me, as much as it's nice to be rewarded for it, it's not the reason I do what I do. And truly, I sit and I think about it, and I'm like, why am I being rewarded for just being a good person in the community? So it's special to be recognized, but of course it's...
But being in front of 19,000 people, center court, is pretty special.
I know, that is very special, extremely special.
Especially for the mom.
But it makes you feel good because you know that you've really accomplished quite a bit at such a young age.
Of
and
course.
there's so much more you're going to accomplish, we know. Tell me a little bit about the house. Now, how do you pick? You finally filtrated throughout the Lowell area, okay? You with community teamwork, we talked about DCF, but what are the other houses? I know the Lazarus House.
There's the Lazarus
Yep.
House, there's La Casa Nueva Vida, they have 3 shelters in Lawrence. And then we're partnered with Lawrence DCF, Haverhill DCF, we're adding on Lowell DCF. So a couple different homeless shelters and DCF offices.
Which is great.
Also the Home for Little Wanderers in
The Home for
Walpole,
Wanderers.
Jamaica Plain.
The shelter.
You should reach out to, she's fabulous, Deb Chassier here for House of Hope.
Yeah.
They have quite a few shelters here, so,
Yes.
Awesome.
for women and children. So that would be great, another connection for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell me a little bit more. Okay, so you're not doing the cooking because you're busy with school. You have this huge enterprise now. Anybody can volunteer.
Yes. Yep.
He's going to put your websites on, and they can click on and they can volunteer. And I
Super
can't believe
easy.
how many volunteers that you have.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's an easy process. So they sign up to be a volunteer, and all they have to do is supply the cake. We give the volunteers all the gifts, so they just worry about the delivery and the cake. So it's
Now, how many gifts do you give to a child? 1 or 2?
It kind of depends on what they're asking for. Some kids will ask for kind of more expensive items, so usually we'll just give them 1 or 2 of those. Or if they're asking for small items, we'll get them a bunch of different things.
So do you go specifically on their birthday? How does it work?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Oh,
It's-
do you come in like a flashing car, a limo.
See, that would be cool.
I know, that would be
Can you
cool.
imagine?
I'll drive. You should. You should put a nice logo on the side.
That would be
I think
really
that would
cool.
be fabulous.
I'm all for it.
Yes, that would be cool.
But our volunteers go on the day of the child's birthday. We want to make sure that on the day they're there celebrating them.
So without school, because some of them, are they in school?
Yeah, so for the foster care homes, the volunteers will call in advance and ask when the child would be home, so they know when they can go and meet the child. And so if they're in school, they'll usually go in the afternoons or the mornings.
Right. So now for a young girl that is not, kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself. What do you think that how would you motivate them, Hannah?
I think it's a cliche to say, but genuinely, if you have something that you're passionate about, why not take it and run with it and do something that you enjoy doing? And that's kind of what I did. Was I knew I was passionate about baking. I wanted to be involved in the community, and I knew I could do that. And it's just as simple as, you don't have to start a whole nonprofit. You can hold the door open for someone. You could, make bracelets for kids in hospitals, or simple things that will really make someone's day.
Was it hard beginning at first? Was it hard starting?
Course.
Yes,
It
of
was.
course. A few doors shut, right? But then you open them.
And it's,
right? I think you're the type that you would kick it right down, Hannah, right?
Yes. And it was funny because when I first started, I was using my babysitting money to fund all the birthdays, to buy the little knick-knack toys, all the cake supplies. And as we continued to grow, I'm like, my babysitting money's running out. I need to keep babysitting. So it was fun. Of course, it's hard. I was young, and I was trying to balance school and One Wish Project.
Now, how many birthdays do you have coming up this month?
I want to say 65.
Wow. 65. So 65. So how do you find time to you make time? Tell me about that.
So
a little balance.
I have an incredible mother.
Mrs. Joe.
That's for one. So she handles most of the volunteers. So essentially, when all the birthdays come in for that month, we send out a list to all the volunteers, all the 65 children, and the volunteers sign up. They get a form with all the information. So it's a nice, easy process.
Easy.
We've gotten the hang of it.
How do you balance, Claudia? You had 3 children. How do you balance your life and have time for yourself?
It's so funny because I always sort of thank my daughter. I'm like, thank you so much for doing this, because it's given me such a new outlook on my own life, not to mention, it's something now that I'm extremely passionate about. And not just because my daughter started it, because it's just such a wonderful, heartwarming, fulfilling thing. Of all the jobs that I've held in my life, this is without a doubt the most I've ever been passionate about anything in my whole life. So it's very easy, to spend 40 hours a week doing what I do, because it is just
what you
fulfilling.
love.
It's what I love, and it is working with my daughter. I mean, she's busy doing other things, which is why I took on the executive role, because it's much more demanding. But it's very easy to balance. I recently moved into a 55+ community, and so I've met new friends, and so I feel like my life has just begun again.
And you look great.
Thank you.
So, women, I just turned 60. Women at our age, the older we get, it is so great to be still involved, in our community and doing good things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And doesn't it make you feel self-worth of yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. We talked about this recently, is if I didn't have One Wish Project, what would I be doing? I mean, I'd be playing tennis and going to TJ Maxx during the day, and
with me,
having with you, meeting friends for lunch, and that's what I was doing for many years. When we were living in Andover, this has brought a whole new element to my life, and so fulfilling that I wake up and I have a smile on my face every day.
I was just going to say, you both are so personable, and you have such passion, you can tell, which is so important in running a huge organization and helping children, or even you're helping the moms, the single parent.
Yeah.
So is it all moms, or is there single parents? Are they?
It varies.
Okay,
it varies. For the kids in the foster care home, they don't have a stable, guardian in their lives, and in the foster care, or in the homeless shelters, it could be one parent, it could be both their parents.
Okay.
So
we did celebrate someone a while back. It was a single dad, which was in a shelter, which was unusual. But it's mainly the moms, single mom with 1, 2 children with their
that's
kids.
what we see the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have a role model, Claudia, in your life for a woman?
My mom. who unfortunately passed away when I was young. I was 24, but she was she was a stay-at-home mom. But she was the most loving, giving person that I've ever known. And my father too, I have to give my father credit too, but my mom, who even to this day I still miss so deeply. But she was just such a genuine person, and you don't really meet people with that level of
So true.
authenticity these days.
Integrity,
Yeah,
loyalty.
Exactly. So yeah, it would be my mom.
How about you, Hannah?
My mom.
Yeah.
And I
Tell me
say-
one thing about your mom, but go ahead. You say what?
I think, so genuinely, I think she's one of the strongest people I've ever met. I say that because she's dealt with so many hardships in life. She had breast cancer when my brothers and I were little, and she persevered, and she raised 3 amazing kids and continues to do an amazing job supporting us, committing to us.
She is
By
dynamite.
far.
She is a dynamite diva.
She is.
Yes, she is.
Oh, I like that. I'll get a shirt that says that.
Hannah, if you had this is one of my favorite questions. If you had a magic wand, what would you wish for the young girls out there in this type of environment?
Asking me hard questions. To do what you love doing and don't let anyone stop you. I think being a woman and a girl in this world can be difficult, and sometimes we're overlooked. And I think that women have incredible power in the world that people don't see sometimes. And so if we're passionate about something, we can kind of take over the world. Women are strong and powerful and really have
I love that. Excellent.
a lot to
How about you, Claudia? If you had a magic wand.
That is such an easy question for me.
I know, right? Because we've lived it,
yes,
right? Yes,
exactly.
We have a little older in us,
Exactly.
wisdom.
My kids ad nauseum will say, oh, God, if I have to hear that one more time. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was 42, and my children were babies at the time. And, when you're faced with that kind of scary illness, you're thinking, am I going to live to see my children grow up? And there's a lot of, as a mother, there's so many, lessons you want to impart on your kids, be nice, be kind, open doors for older ladies. And, but one of the things I always want to impart in my children is, life can be tough, but if you really love yourself, if you have a really good sense of self, you have the world by its tail, and nobody can bring you down.
It's so true.
And that's what I imparted in my children over and over again.
and it's funny.
And you can tell.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You can tell. I haven't met the boys, but I'm sure your brothers are the same. So
Yeah.
Exactly. And taking that same philosophy for these children who are clearly in circumstances that were not in their control.
So true.
It affects them, emotionally. I mean, there's studies that say that children that grow up in foster care or in homeless shelters, they suffer depression, anxiety, they may have physical
Everything.
and emotional, issues. They're not doing well in school, and it's because they're affected by, these circumstances. And we are telling them that you are worthy, that you're deserving of the same joy that my children, that Hannah had, on the one day that belongs just to them, and that's their birthday. And, going back to Hannah's favorite quote, we always hope that even though they may not remember us or the cake or the presents,
They remember.
we wanted them to know how we made them, or hopefully made them feel. And long after they leave the shelter, when they're on their own, that they carry that into their adulthood, and they, always remember it, and then they impart that on somebody else.
they will remember. Can you believe we're wrapping up?
No, I can't.
I love that, Claudia, though. Both of you were outstanding. Is there anything else, Hannah, you'd like to say?
Just to people watching, to do good things in the community. I think the world is filled with a lot of hatred, and kindness is always needed nowadays. And just be nice and kind and do good things for other people.
And if you want to volunteer,
advice.
And if you want to volunteer,
go to
Yes.
our
we're
website.
always available.
Pete will put all that. And how,
Right.
Claudia, anything else would you like to say?
Ditto with what Hannah said. Life is difficult as it is, and if there's anything you can do, big or small, it doesn't have to be starting a nonprofit, but whatever you can do to make a difference in anyone's life, just do it.
I have to give you my traditional Godiva chocolates for the diva and both of you.
Thank you.
And I get the cake. Yes, all right, I get the homemade, well, not homemade, but almost cake.
Almost.
But it's from her
Next
heart,
time.
and that's the most important thing.
Yes.
Please, if you know 2 extraordinary divas like Hannah Finn, Claudia Mintz, the proud owners of One Wish Project. Don't forget, please reach out to them on their website. There's a lot that we all can be doing. Thank you for watching Dacey's Divas, and I will see you soon.